All right, so it says I am live now. I don't know if I'm live yet or not. It's the first time I am within a minute or two of when I'm supposed to go live. So yeah, let's find out. Can I see my comments? That I don't know about. All right. You can see me if you can hear me, especially if your name is Ethan. Could you just write in our regular chat if you can hear me, because for some reason YouTube is not showing my stream. Oh, wait, try that maybe. Go back. All right, I think this is the right one. It says end stream, so that looks good. All right, Ethan says he's here. Can you hear me, bud? You can say it in either place now, I guess. Okay, glad you're here. All right, so as I kind of showed off in the video, I wanted to just kind of, again, go over the similarities, whether they're intentional or not, to start. And before I get started, I'll just, I guess, do my traditional hello to everyone. So, hey fam, Swatitu Konkret, Pinik here, and let's do another live stream today. We are going over the G350 by BattleXP, which could or could not be by Anbernic. Again, they've never confirmed it officially, but if we look at it, we have the same glossy style buttons, same size, and if I would have gotten a different color combination, I could have gotten those actual keys. The D-pad, identical. The M/function button, identical. Start select, identical. Faux speaker on the side here, identical. Now, of course, the analog sticks look different because it's a different colorway, but you know, the same style with the same there. The same mono speaker, just obviously a different color. Same triple ribs there. Same 6 screws, same sticker, just obviously differently branded. The same exact angle with the same little spacer there. Same exact buttons and SD slots. As I alluded to in the video, in a previous video, that you'll find that Chinese companies, for some reason, almost all exclusively do the micro SD card upside down. So you'll put it so the graphics are facing down. So if I was taking it out, let's take it out of this one because it's turned off. If I can, yeah, so you'll see, instead of having the graphics facing up, the graphics are facing down. Almost always. I'd say 95% of the time. So if you're putting in your first micro SD card, be aware of that. But like I say, the exact same volume rocker, same SD card slot there. And then on this side, the same power button. So the big difference physically is this has the notification like charging light and whatnot in the center versus this has it over here. And the 3.5mm headphone jack is switched and the USB-C is switched. And this one has the Anbernic that costs more money, has the mini HDMI port. So if you want to connect it to your TV, you can connect it to your TV, whereas this one you can't. But they're both using Torx screws rather than like Phillips head screws. I don't know if I can get it in there properly, but same size it looks like. So if they're not the same company, I would be astounded. Like I say, my hypothesis and a lot of other YouTubers' hypothesis is that it's a secret sub-brand of Anbernic, where they're trying different things. Like I say, this Anbernic came out after this. This has less power and uses a chip that Anbernic proper has never used. So my guess is that they were trying out the chip and everything else. They liked how it functioned and the reviews for it, so that's why they ended up releasing this one. That would be my hypothesis. But again, for a $35 handheld, if you're in the mood for a Game Boy clone, you could do a lot worse than either one of these. You know, a 3.5-inch screen doesn't sound big, and it's not big, but it's more than big enough for retro games that, you know, you're keeping your bent elbows away. So less than a meter away from your face for the average person, more than enough. All right. So let's go ahead and get this turned on. BattleXP with the scratches. Okay, so we have Final Burn Neo, which is a arcade system, MAME, which is also an arcade system. It's one of those arcades that could handle multiple games. That's why you'll see multiple arcade machine emulator. Varcade, again, an arcade. Their setup screen. Capcom, a lot of people don't know in the West, but Capcom and Sega both got their names before they were doing consoles by being really good arcade makers. So that's what that is. Actually, let's just start and set up here. So A to enter. So you can do an input test, set time and date, file manager, install Drastic, install Portmaster. So of course, Drastic is to play some DS games. Portmaster is to play some computer ports. Input test. Let's take a look. Always a good idea to know what how our inputs are. So the good thing with the stick is just kind of just nudge it along little by little. See if you get any snapping to one place. Because, you know, some don't like the corners, some try to go to the corners directly. So you can actually do both at the same time. But if I just nudge it along, you can see it does do quite a good job, actually. No snapping. Covers the whole area. All right. It says M start to rumble. I feel the vibration. It's good. Okay, start select to exit. We'll wait for that. So it doesn't give accidentals very until I give it that extra little juice to the side, which is kind of what you want. So that way, if you're doing a rolling down trigger or up angle, sorry, down angle, down diagonal, and then the arrow you're trying to go. For fighting games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, looks very good on that regard. Again, you have to give it the good juice there. I wish they would have separated out the volume rocker, because right now you can accidentally push both at the same time, but that's all right. I don't want to do the reset button, so all right. So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good pass for this. Oh, start select to exit. There we go. And go ahead, Ethan, and anyone else that joins right now or in the future, let me know some consoles or some games that you want to see played. Can bear in mind this is PS1 decently, PSP okay, and then anything below that. And what I can honestly say is I like how they did the bezel on this. Is there is a little bit of a bezel. If you look, you can see where the screen starts, and then it's actually still device color. So it makes the bezel look pretty clean instead of just a big black bar. But I have to admit, this Anbernics DMG gray looks an awful lot like the BattleXP's DMG gray. Funny how that worked out. Metal Gear, I'm not sure if I put it on here, but I can definitely put it on here while we're doing the live stream. So let's go over here, BattleXP settings. So you can tell it to load directly into Emulation Station, ESDE, or load into RetroArch. I like that we get that flexibility. User interface. Let's see, that's UI 1. Let's try UI 2 for giggles. And yeah, mention in the comments. So if you're a fan of light mode, you might like this. This gives some old school vibes. I'm a fan of dark mode, but you know, I can see how somebody would like that. Okay, this is an even darker mode. Let's see what this looks like when you exit out. I guess I could have done that on the other one too, but I forgot. It's not bad. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Since I didn't do it, I'll go ahead and go back to UI 1 just to cover my bases and be thoughtful. Okay, oh wow, that one's, you can't even see. There we go, ports. Okay. Definitely adds an interesting life to your device. I like Sonic throwing the rings. I don't know if I've ever seen Sonic throw the rings before, but that's all right. Interesting. And then UI 3. Okay, now I got to go up and down. It just has the name of the console. It doesn't have like a controller or an image of the console, which I feel is a bit of a miss there. You get in, you get some box art. That's good. UI 4. Okay. A little bit interesting. Get some simplified Chinese there with the date and the time down here and how many games you have. NDS Fresh. I don't know what NDS Fresh is versus Nintendo DS, but okay. Look at that, Open Beats of Rage. Interesting. Crystal. Let's check out Crystal. Okay, kind of boring. No offense to Crystal. And then UI. Okay. I am just trying to think. What's your favorite? Yeah, if that had like a console or something on there, I'd probably like that. Kind of like this one, adds a little pizzazz to it at least. Okay, yeah, I think that looks better. So there's Pico 8, which is close to the power of the original Nintendo, but is a fantasy console. That's why it says fantasy console. That just means that they never made an actual console for it. They just said, we want game developers to create games based on these specs alone. Make it so that they could only play within these parameters. So they have some capabilities that are more powerful than the Nintendo for Pico 8 games, and some of the games are, or some of the spec requirements are lower than the original Nintendo. Again, to foster creativity and thought, so that's why they have that there. But I'm looking at this, and it doesn't look like I have Metal Gear Solid. But I can add, because I doubt if you want to see, oh, maybe, let's see here. 59 games, let's find out. We do got Castlevania, which has a great soundtrack. We do have Gran Turismo. Harvest Moon. Oh, there we go. Got a few different Mega Mans. We have Metal Gear VR tasks. That could always work. Resident Evil 1, especially the unupdated version, extremely hard because of how the game focused. Need for Speed, High Pursuit, or Hot Pursuit and everything are fun games. So let's just do the MGS VR missions, at least one or two of them here. Feel free to name other games or consoles, Ethan, because right now it's just you and me. So, you know, once somebody else joins, they can shout out games that they want to see or consoles they want to see. Okay, it says it's loading the disk. Sure, taking its time loading the disk. But it is showing 60 frames per second in its black loading screen here. I mean, I can install Metal Gear Solid pretty quickly, too. If we want to, I can drag and drop it onto the micro SD card. Obviously, I have to turn off the device first and wait for that to catch up, but because, yeah, this one's not doing anything. So function start twice, kicks you out of the game. So I can do that real quick. While I am doing this, feel free to ask me questions. Yes, there is network settings here, but no, you have to get a dongle if you want to do anything like that. System settings. Trying to remember. I think that's it. Yeah. So ask the big brother. Since P means big brother or big sister, ask the big brother. Okay. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. All right, we'll do that one next. PSX. Feel free to ask questions that either you know, Ethan, or you think someone that watches this later might find interesting, or you just don't know. That's, of course, fine too. Actually, let me see. I think it might be over here too. While I'm looking for MGS, Nope, I moved it. Okay. It's in there. Okay. Some NFL, Ultimate Mortal Kombat DS. All right. I don't know if that's there, but I think I have that downloaded on my hard drive. So let's take a look. Okay. Okay, there's that. See if I can't see the games on this drive. Did they hide it? They might have. That's not right. All right. I go image side down again. Okay. This is a fancy coaxia brand that I've never heard of, but that doesn't surprise me. There we go. Can I install games through this? Or are you going to not allow me to have games on both? Probably. Okay. Image side always down. And then, of course, trying to get it back in sometimes is just the funnest part. Let me see if I can make this. Let me ask you, Ethan. You said some NFL. Can you watch either college or professional American football and understand everything that's going on? Okay, there we go. Okay. There's Metal Gear Solid going on. And then let me check my DS library. I had one of those handy things that could go just tap a thing to go between sharing screen and showing what's on my phone. I would gladly show you what I'm doing right now, but Ultimate Mortal Kombat DS, since it has one screen, that ought to be interesting, but let's see what we can do. Doesn't look like it's on the card. Okay, so let me see here. And then I need to get a NAS set up, but right now I just have a 14 terabyte hard drive that has most of the videos I've released on it, as well as my ROM collection. So if it failed, I would not be too happy, but it would be my own fault. All right, NDS. And then Ultimate. Yeah, I figured as much. Either Aussie Rules Football or Aussie Rugby. All right, and then let's see here. Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Puzzle. Maybe it's under Mortal Kombat Ultimate. Let's see. Nope, I don't currently have a Mortal Kombat on DS. At least in my main folder. Let me check my other folder. Nope, not in that one. So this is why it's always a good idea. Send in your ideas on comments in the Monday video so that way I can have them ready for us. Wait, no problem. Let's see here. What about this one? I have way too many places I can look for games. Nintendo. Do I have Nintendo DS in this folder? Doesn't look like it. No Nintendo DS in this folder. I have a few different folders that I keep some of my ROMs in. So that's what I'm looking for right now. No, that one's gonna too much time. I'm not Emulations. And then do I have NDS? Nope, I don't. All right, sorry, nothing for that. But I should have at least the first half of Metal Gear Solid. Picture side down, shiny side up. Okay. See if it picks it up. But yeah, it's just drag and drop. You open up the folder and then you just drag your games into the respective folder. Should work. Now, next week's device, I'll definitely be able to have a lot of things lined up. But again, my request would be on Mondays to comment on those videos and make it one comment at a time. Metal Gear Solid, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit PS1, and I'll make sure that they're all there. Because after all, every comment helps. So shameless plug on my part. But that'll definitely, get my attention. All right, let's see if it loaded it as I hope. It's not showing it here. Let me just try one other thing. Game collections. So yeah, I wish that, so you can see it gets brighter pretty well, but then things get washed out. Okay, just looking here to see if there's a way to. Oh, is that how you do it? Oh, all right, let's do that. That'll make it so much better for me. There we go. Fixed at least that part of it. Update game lists. See if it'll find. Yeah, there we go. Metal Gear Solid USA. Oops, got so used to it. There we go. The first game I owned in high school as a Christmas gift. My dad got me good. He got me the game and had me unwrap it. And my sister's now ex-husband got a PlayStation for Christmas. He's like, well, at least you can go over to Denise and Charlie's and play some Metal Gear Solid when you get a chance on the weekends. And so I was like, yeah, that'll work, until I can save up money from working, because I was already working at 14. So I was like, yeah, until I can save up for a PS1, that works. And then after everybody opened their gifts, then he's like, oh, shoot, I got to go to my room for something. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot about this gift. And he came with another gift, and it was a PlayStation. He's like, I guess you don't need to go over to Denise and Charlie's and to play it anymore. So got me pretty good there. Okay. See, I had no idea that it was different popularities in different areas. Let's see if I can't get it to give any type of focus. It wants to focus on my phone for some reason. Skip over the music because, well, probably get copyright striked on that. Such iconic. Hi, second person joining in. Feel free to recommend a game or a console that you want to see played. I just actually added this to this console because it didn't come with it. But Ethan had made the request, so here I am. Thanks, Campbell. I've probably beaten this game like 20 times. And of course, the screen is so dark right now, it's hard to see because I can't do that. Oh, they left. All right. Trying to make sure we can see good. You can see good frame rate though. Oh, he's coming my way. Of course, I'm trying to play looking at the screen, and there's a little bit of a delay here for me. Not too bad, but Hideo Kojima is such a master. I can't see. Nobody go to sleep. Ah. I know you're watching me, but I'm just having fun. I'm not trying to play seriously here. Oh boy, this is gonna be hard because I can't see very well. With my phone blurring out and yeah, doesn't matter. You just got punched to the ground. Go back to your position. I have to get close so I can see it since it's so dark. And I'm such in a well-lit room at the moment. Ethan, did you ever play MGS, this one? Uh-oh, it's coming this way. Grab the ration that's over here. Fuckers. Sadly, only one other person joined for a short time, it looks like, and then they left. Yeah, so did you ever get a chance to play Metal Gear Solid when you were younger, Ethan? I remember I got the demo disc with PlayStation Magazine because I worked at a grocery store, so I got every edition of PlayStation Magazine. And I played it on a friend's PlayStation that already had a PlayStation over and over again. And this is right where it would end, right on that splash screen. Yeah, when you get your AirX, I think you'll love Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 2 are great games. Metal Gear Solid, they just made a remake on the PlayStation 5, so that tells you how great it was. And you should be able to, I believe, Metal Gear Solid 3, I believe, did come out on PS2. Might have, I think it was PS2 and PS3, but I could be wrong. It's been so long since I played, and since I've owned PS1 through PS5, sometimes it's easy to get them which games originated on which consoles. So, like I say, you can see handles it well. And as you can see, even though it's a mono downward firing speaker, the audio is not bad. Could it be better? Could there be bass? Could there be more? Absolutely. But for 35 bucks, not too bad. I can see, looking at my little screen, that you can hear the audio of the game. These games were famous because they were so cinematic on PlayStation 1, and they had such intricate stories. Hideo Kojima is such a master of storytelling. I just get lost watching it, even though I've seen it a number of times. I could skip through this too, obviously, but again, just thinking this was on PlayStation 1. Granted, it was 2 discs on PS1. So it was almost 1.5 gig because each disc was a CD. So each disc was probably 650 to 700 megabytes. So almost half of a gigabyte back then.
What's wrong? Nothing. I just didn't expect a world-class designer of military technology to be so cute. You're just flattering me. No, I'm serious. Well, I know I won't be bored for the next 18 hours. Come on. I can't believe I'm being hit on by the famous solid snake. But I'm surprised. You're really thankful I trained you. Looks like we both have a lot to learn about each other. Yeah, I'm looking forward to learning about the man behind the legend. But first, let me explain about your solar tornado
So
system.
I think that's good enough for Metal Gear. Let you get your AirX, and I'm sure you can get that if you don't already have that as part of a ROM collection. You can get that pretty easily. All right, and then you said Hot Pursuit, I believe. Yeah, Hot Pursuit PS1. Oh, I just changed it. So let's see how this one works. And really, I do love how the curve goes, because it really does make it easy for get your first knuckle while not getting any accidental presses on R2 or L2 with this curve. So for a Game Boy clone, this is probably one of the best. The only thing they could have done better is maybe had ergonomic grips here to make it where you could rest your hands more easily there, but all in all, pretty good. Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit. Let's go Red Rock Ridge, 4 laps. Directions forward, yeah, sure, why not? Well, we could do some weather, why not? Yeah, I gotta get a car that stands out. Why not this one? And we'll be chasing this one, which is appropriate since during my last live stream, I showed the silver car as the car I was driving. Let's see if we can maintain a steady 60 frames, 60 FPS. Good. Oh, absolutely. There we go. Didn't bother me to open the lid and change games. Whoa. You're gonna have to tell me, Ethan, if I can maintain a 60 frame, because trying to look up at the frames per second counter is harder than it looks while you're trying to play. Man, I am doing terribly. Doesn't mean I'm not having fun. Oof. I remember looking at games like this and Metal Gear Solid and thinking games can't get better than this. Obviously, that's in 1998, 1999 area. So we were still a couple of years away from PS2. So when PS2 came out, we were all blown away. Oh, I really that wasn't a shortcut. Too late. Yeah, I'd say this old chip here, even if it's about 10 years old, is handling PS1 games pretty darn well. Ah! Ah! We'll just stop. Oh, it's amazing how much a bigger screen, and when you can hold it to the way you want to hold it, how much better it can be, and just not be terrible at the game. You know, that too. Let's see here. Oops. Let's Tekken 2. Let's do a little fighting on PS1. I want to try to avoid any music playing. So I might have to turn down these fights because I think these fights in Tekken usually have music. Don't remove your memory card. Okay, I won't. Oh, I did. Did I tense you? Oh, come on, Nick. P-Nick. I looked too quickly. I figured Tekken 3, I just assumed that it would be Tekken 2. But that's why they say don't assume, because you know what happens when you assume, Ethan. I got an interesting red screen. I don't know if that's planned or not. Give it another 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's easy enough to get in and out of games once you learn function and start twice. Some systems do select and start twice, but Sega Naomi. Giant Graham. Let's see here. What do we have? Crazy Taxi, Daytona USA Dreamcast, Japan. Yeah, let's go with that Daytona USA. I believe it's supposed to be generally a decent game to emulate. I only had one friend, and Chris, if you're watching this, you know, buddy, but I only had one friend growing up that had a Dreamcast. Yes, that one. I have no idea what that said, but we'll go with it. No, I think we lose our frame rate counter. Sorry about that. Okay, hopefully we can tell if we start getting stuttering. Okay, so what is that one? Yeah, we want that one. Why aren't you letting me select it? Automatic, yes. Medium hard. Okay. Okay. Okay, start. There we go. It's been a long time since I played this game. Yeah, it's an underrated system. Like I say, I only had one friend that played it, so that tells you how underrated it was. Sadly, it's what kicked Sega out of the console in the race. So after a few bad console launches. Am I losing speed? I think I'm losing speed. Okay, gotta push R1. My bad. I don't know if it'll let me accelerate, not accelerate, but have a higher end top speed to catch up kind of thing, or it's one of those games that you're done if you're cooked if you fall behind. It looks like they let you do catch up. Because otherwise, why am I passing all these people? After not pushing the accelerator for the gas pedal for the first quarter of the first lap. No, get out of the grass. I'm 12. Better than I deserve for the first 5 or 6 seconds of not using the gas pedal. Ride the wall. Ride the wall. Oh. Hey, 12. Game over. Wah, wah, wah. What do you think? Retry or go to another game? Five, four, three, two, one. Okay, we'll go to another game. Since Ethan looks like he's busy, let's see what other game we can do here. Garuga. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Oddly enough, that's an American game, it says. Sega GT, Sonic Adventure, Star Wars, NFL. Oops. Again, if you had let me know ahead of time you wanted some football game. That's where the comments on the Monday videos are very helpful. Anybody watching this, including Mr. Ethan and anyone else, I can load them on ahead of time. Make sure they're here. But I can't know what you want to see unless you tell me. Streets of Rage. That might be one I have to play too. Let's see what we've got. And for anyone that is watching and that's curious why I don't know everything that's on here, because I play specific games that I like whenever I'm testing out a console, obviously. So that's why I created this, because I wanted to introduce you guys to games that you'd be interested in. Mortal Kombat on Game Boy Advance. Let's see here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtle in a Half Shell. I love that these are not alphabetical. Battletoads, one of the hardest games. And since next week's device is going to be a much more powerful device, I really hope for some really great requests. Because next week's device will be able to handle will be able to handle a lot of PS3, all of PS2, all of GameCube, some Wii, some Switch, because it's even more powerful than the Retroid Pocket 5. Gran Turismo, that I can do. Let me go back. See, I like how PlayStation is all alphabetical. No numbers assigned to it either. Just beautiful. This is another game. Just it's crazy how hard they pushed the PS1. Some games just look really funny when they're trying to load. I don't know why. We'll give it a minute. Let me just try to exit out and then go back in. See if we get another red screen of death, or if we get something different this time. There's the old Vivo X Fold 3 Pro. So see, it looks like it wants to load it. It's definitely not stuck as far as I can still see things. It's not frozen, but it's like the emulator's getting frozen trying to play the game. But then why is it still showing a high FPS? I don't know. All right. Sorry, Ethan. We tried. Let's take a look at PSP. What do we have here? Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, Tekken, not a lot. Balloons, I don't know. Bomberman, almost everyone knows Bomberman. Castlevania. Let's try Castlevania X. Could not load. Hey, don't you be trying to play audio now on me. I guess Grand Theft Auto it is. That's another game I played the heck out of on PlayStation 1, was GTA 3. Yeah, good luck trying to read that. Spinning up the UMD drive. Good thing that's what I chose, Ethan. Now we just have to wait to finish loading. At least it's gotten to the screen. So true story, my brother wanted to take me out for drinks on my 21st birthday because in the US, the drinking age is 21. So we thought about, he's like, well, what do you want to eat? I was like, I don't know. I feel like pizza. So we thought about it. And there was a pizza that we hadn't had forever. It was never great pizza, but it was still iconic pizza. So we're like, they do sell beer there. So for my 21st birthday, my gracious big brother took me to the famous Chuck E. Cheese. And we had pizza and beer. And then we tried playing arcade games because they still had arcades, but like half of them were broken. And obviously we were too big to go in like the kid playing tube area. But still had fun. And like say the pizza, if you're giving it a scale 1 to 10, or PNIC style, let's give it PNIC scale 0 to 69. It would have been, a 39, just slightly above average. And average being like a frozen pizza you buy at the grocery store. So it was nothing to write home about, nothing at all. But it was a fun memory to have pizza and beer at Chuck E. Cheese on my 21st birthday. And this one looks like it wants to load, but it stopped. Let's try it one more time. Did you actually freeze my system too? Nope, nope, you're accepting, okay. So there's your bit of PNIC trivia. Where did PNIC drink legally for the first time as a 21-year-old Chuck E. Cheese? One more try, Rockstar, one more try. But I mean, again, for a $35 device, it's made of really solid plastic. I mean, there's no hollow sound to it, no wiggly buttons. Yeah, I might have to try a reboot too. But there's no clickety clackety the buttons whenever you shake it. It's just a really well built machine, which for $35, hard to find. Yeah, it looks like we're getting stuck at the same place. So we'll do the old restart button. And Ethan, I'm sure you remember because you're awesome like that. But in case you don't remember, I had an electric scooter, well, basically an electric motorcycle. Um, but I've had it since I moved in this house almost 2 years ago, and it it was because it was an EV. It was wicked fast at acceleration. It doesn't even want to do that. Try that again. And they called it gold. It looked more orange than gold, but either way, today was my last day with it. We sold it off, even though, like I say, about 2 years old and only had about 46 or 47 kilometers on it. So still basically new. A nice Belgian guy that moved to Bangkok. Yeah, really doesn't like. This is why I say some PSP. Let's try a simpler PSP game. Metal Slug XX. Created by SNK, another company that was famous for their arcade systems before they tried making home consoles. They did make some SNK. Normal, sure. They did make some home consoles though. You know, kind of a natural blonde. So we'll go with this guy here because Cyrix or Cytix or whatever his name is. Trying to look Clark. Okay, there we are. Trying to look at it backwards. Clark. Let's go with Clark. Mission 1. Whoa. Oh, got me. Now I got that wimpy gun again. Oh, died again. Whoa. Killed me again with that tank. Yes, let's go again. Come on. There we go. Dang. I am not doing good with this. Oof. I am stinking at this game. Still have fun, but that doesn't mean I'm good. I only got. Oh, come on. didn't go the way of planning either. There we go. Now I got to think. Oops, I lost my thing. That's my last thing. All right, so that's some PSP. So we can see it can work on some relatively well. Granted, Metal Slug's not that hard of a game to emulate, but again, the fact we can get anything like that on a $35 handheld, I think is still a win. Let's try Tekken. Why not? Tekken 5. I was always more of a Mortal Kombat fan than a Tekken fan, just because I felt like Tekken was a bit slower than Mortal Kombat. But, I played Tekken just fine. I would rent it occasionally. Because back in the days, the grocery store I worked at, the grocery store had a little movie and game rental section. So I'd just go to that section and get my staff discount and rent a game. File corrupt. Oh, come on, man. Try again. No, it doesn't like that game at all. All right, so sorry, that's that. Now, I guess we could, since I haven't heard from Ethan in a bit, let's go to Pico 8. Because you're new to the emulation scene there, Ethan, I am guessing you probably have never played or seen anyone playing Pico 8. So someone did create a Pico 8 version of Celeste. Trying to see if any of them have Kudurami. Okay, Christ Masi. See if any of them actually have any box art. Doesn't look like it. So let's do Pico Racer. Now again, remember Pico 8, not a console that happened in real life. But like say, so some of the aspects of the Pico 8 spec sheet are more powerful than what was available on the original Nintendo, and some of them are less. Again, trying to force developers to get kind of creative when they don't have the unlimited bandwidth. So again, think Nintendo whenever you look at these graphics. Whoa. All right, let's just race on some more. All right, it doesn't feel like I'm driving 240 miles an hour, or kilometers per hour. Oh, I missed that one. Game over. Drowned my car. I mean, again, not bad. Ridge Racer. I don't think that was on my system, but we'll double check, buddy. Next, yeah, I know I could add it. I definitely have it on my computer, but I know it's not the most fun watching my hands move around trying to drag and drop it. Let's see here, Ridge Racer. There we go, Ridge Racer 4. Another game that looked really good for the console. Okay, at least a short red screen. Cool if I grab a pop real quick to drink. It's in my mini fridge that's 2 yards away from me, 2 meters away from me. And considering it is 8:18 p.m. here on Wednesday night, doesn't look like Ridge Racer's wanting to load, but do have a Coca-Cola zero sugar vanilla flavored. And yes, if you want to see some Thai writing, there's how you say carbohydrates and sugars in Thai. It was funny when my dad was here. This means zero sugar. When my dad was here, he would look at this and be like, well, those look like U's, so it's like, and that's an L, so it's like, and that's like a backwards R, so is that R? So, and the M, like, Dad, you can't do that. That looks like an A. Can I say that like an A? No, Dad, you can't. That's because Thai was created in the 600s by a Thai king versus English, as we speak it today, has only been around for a couple hundred years. And even Old English 1,000 years ago, the average person could not understand. Although the average person that speaks German could understand more than the average English speaker could understand English from 1,000 years ago. Versus Thai has been consistent the whole time. Obviously, they have new words for like computer, but as far as the letters, the pronunciation, the same since 600. So 600 was what, 1,400 years ago? So you can't use English logic. Oh, and I love this too, because it's a zero, they added the tab in black as well. All right. It's wanting to do something, but doesn't want to load Ridge Racer either. Can do most PS1. I always said most PS1 too. More PS1 than PSP. But sadly, again, that's one of the things that frustrates me is that they'll throw on games that they haven't tested themselves, they haven't curated themselves. And again, I know it's a budget device, so it is what it is. But sometimes I will receive a device that does not have a touchscreen, and it includes Nintendo DS games that the only way to start it is to touch the bottom screen. So yes, I can go to the bottom screen by toggling on the shoulder buttons, but pressing any button it doesn't recognize. It only wants a press on the bottom screen for the DS game, and I can't press the DS game. So it breaks my heart. It's like, why? But again, I guess that's a couple hours of work for someone to test out games. All right, let's see if we can do Crash. Good old Crash. We have Crash Team Racing and Crash Insane Trilogy. Let's do the Insane Trilogy. Now, there are some people that absolutely love vertical handhelds. Game Boy clones like this are called vertical handhelds because the overall orientation is this way, whereas this is a horizontal because the overall orientation is your hands are on the sides of the screen. Again, kind of looks oddly suspiciously similar here. Obviously, these aren't the same because it's a different type of console. But hey, let's look at these buttons. You see any difference in those buttons? Anbernic, BattleXP. BattleXP came out before this one. This one is the most recent Anbernic device that's been released. And you tell me, they either sourced the color, because again, the color of the device is spot on, from the exact same vendor, and the buttons from the exact same vendor, or they're the same company. Crash 1. $1996. Wow, 1996. Since my birthday is right after Christmas, and I guarantee this game didn't come out right after Christmas, 1996, I would have been 12 when this game came out. And this would have came out during the PS1 time that I believe that they did not have the analog sticks yet. I believe they didn't come out with the analog sticks till 96. Ethan, could you check with ChatGPT or whoever and just type in like, when did the PS1 adopt analog sticks? I'm curious to know when that actually was. So something's happening, but I can't see anything. Remix because I can't see what's going on. I'm not sure, but again, this sounds Castlevania Symphony sounds absolutely spectacular on my TrimUI brick hammer, which I will be getting a new one shortly. But again, for its small size, it had a really high res screen. The TrimUI brick hammer has a screen that's like almost double the resolution this guy has. And instead of a 3.5-inch screen that this has double the resolution, but on a 3.2-inch screen. 97? Okay. So around that game had come out around the time, and this one too, 97. So around the same time. So obviously games of this era back then in 97, they would have come out, and 96 wouldn't have natively supported it. But like this game, you know, they started to offer the option, use the stick or the D-pad. All right. And I know some people would say But Penic, it's not fair to consider that console because the TrimUI brick costs double what this cost, even though it's got a smaller screen. And and it doesn't have analog sticks. I get that. And that's where, whenever I'm doing my reviews, it can be really tough to answer the question of value. Because something like the TrimUI brick camera gives you better speakers and stereo speakers versus your mono speaker here, but you don't get analog sticks. And you get a smaller screen, but a higher resolution screen. And of course, that one you get metal build versus the original brick is a bit cheaper, usually $10 or $15 cheaper than it. So still more expensive than this, but in line with the Anbernic RG35XX Pro that I showed earlier. But again, you're missing out on the bigger screen, but you have better resolution, no analog sticks, but stereo speakers. And that's just on the lower end stuff like this that's under $100. And you can see it's not having fun with this game either. Now loading, okay. See if it loads any better. Audio's got some weird clicky noise. I just want to turn it up for a second. I mean, for mono speaker, it sounds all right. But again, this is the same one that's on the 35XX Pro. So I have to point it out for that because it's about the same as the brick non-hammer, the original brick. And the brick just has better, and we don't have these graphical issues, the stuttering, because it has a much more powerful CPU in it. But again, so does the Anbernic. This has a better processor, has 2 gigs of RAM versus 1 gig of RAM. So it's an all-around more powerful device, and you can see it froze on this one. So again, most PS1, but I'd say, again, most just means, 51% is successful. If you really think about it, I'd say probably PS1, you're probably like 70%, PSP, you're probably at like 40%. Whereas you get to the TrimUI brick hammer, you get to the Anbernic RG35XX for $15, $20 more. You go to 100% PS1 and you go to, 90% PSP. Is that jump worth the $15 to $20 more? Is the metal shell of the brick hammer worth, like $40 more than this, like doubling the cost of this? Yes and no. I mean, for somebody that's a beginner to the hobby that's never used a retro handheld, maybe grew up more with the 16-bit era, and they haven't really played since, well, Sega Genesis, which in most of the world was called the Mega Drive, but in North America, in Canada and the US, was the Mega Drive. If you grew up with the Mega Drive / Genesis, if you grew up with the SNES, if those were your big boys that you really played, then maybe you stepped away from games. For example, that would be my brother. Even though he's not much older than me, he dabbled with the Sega 32X. He dabbled with those others, but he didn't play again until I moved in with him. And he played a little bit of PS2 with me then. And then I convinced him to buy a PS3 when it came out with me. And we played PS3. I still have a PS3. Luckily, that PS3, because my original launch day one fried whenever I lived in Chile, my brother, being the awesome big brother he is, sent, FedEx or UPS, one of those international carriers, shipped me a PS3. So sadly, it wasn't a launch edition, which again got fried, but I had a working PS3 again. And I was able to salvage the hard drive and swap out the hard drive for that. But that was a sad day. But thankfully, my brother stepped up, being the awesome guy he is, and did that for me. funny how some of the games we get the FPS counter, but other consoles we don't. Emerald. Ah! Let me know down in the comments if you played Sonic at all growing up. Were you team get as many coins as possible or finish the levels as quickly as possible? Checkpoint. Hey, wait, let me go back. Knuckles, no. That's not. I was hoping for more coins, but oops. You didn't play Sonic at all? No. That's too bad, Ethan. Well, now with you, when you get your AirX, you can experience Sonic. And see why they bothered creating the movie for couple movies for it now with Jim Carrey. Which were actually surprisingly good. Did you see the Sonic movies, Ethan? There we go, that's more coins. There we go, that's better. Oops. Oops. And if anyone else watches this live stream later and you hear me interacting with Ethan, it's because right now he's the only one here. And because I consider him a friend. And I want to be able to have this type of connection with, you know, all of my subscribers. I'd love it if you all jumped on here. So please, I try to schedule it as soon as Monday's video is live. But at the same time, I want you to kindly put in the comments of Monday's videos, or like if you see this live stream coming up. If you see that posted, comment on there as well, a game that you want to see. That way, whether you watch it live or you can see it later, you can watch it, comment on it. Again, if you're watching it later, I'd love to see your comments. Let me know what games you think are amiss. What do you think of the handheld of the week? Those types of things. Again, for $35, I think this is a pretty good value if you're into vertical handhelds. They're not my favorites. Why? Because again, I'm a big PlayStation guy, so I like having the stacked shoulder buttons. But as far as inline goes, because the curvature we have, this is probably my ideal version of inline shoulder buttons. So if you're talking to somebody about how you like your shoulder buttons, let me know. Are you team inline or are you part of my team stacked? For me, it just feels natural, or even just to have one up and just feels the way it's supposed to feel. So that's why this is one of my favorite devices of the year. And this is my favorite device of the year so far. Will it remain that way? Well, I guess it depends on which of my new devices I receive by the end of the year. Because I just have right now, I'm waiting delivery on, I think, 6 or 7 completely brand new handhelds. Yes, 6 or 7 completely brand new handhelds. So I know that this isn't a completely brand new handheld. I know this has been out for a while, but I do have my backlog that I want to eventually be able to get through, and that there always won't be this number of handhelds coming at me all at one time. So I need devices of the week. So sometimes it has to be a slightly older device. But again, this did come out this year as a 2025 device. And for vertical handheld, 35 bucks, it's a great starter handheld. If especially this time of year, it's a great gift. Whether it's a stocking stuffer. Do you guys do stocking stuffers, Ethan? Like the stockings are like the big socks that you see in the movies that are by like the fireplace or whatnot. But even if we didn't have a fireplace growing up, which we did not, we'd still put the stocking up on the wall, and then they'd put candy and little cheap gifts that are usually like $1, $2. Well, this could fit in an average stocking, and if they've been a good boy, girl, husband, wife, whatever, and they like retro games, you could go a lot worse than this if you've seen them trying to play retro games like on their phone. This will be exponentially more fun for them because they actually have the tactile buttons to play. And Ethan's this team stacked guy. I knew you were a good guy, Ethan. But anyone else that watches this later on, shoot in the comments. Tell me, what are you, stacked or not? And you played Mario? Yeah, I mean, I played Mario as far as we had a NES. I remember my sisters were so excited when Super Mario Brothers 3 was coming out. Yes, I remember my childhood, even when Super Mario Brothers 3 comes out. Yeah, so I remember they were so excited that we were getting Super Mario Brothers 3, because that was whenever games were like $30 or $40 brand new. Okay, good in Oz, they do have stockings. All right, I didn't know. I didn't know if that was a North American exclusive thing or if that had carried over to the land down under. But yeah, so I enjoyed that. And then my friend Heath, again, shout out Heath, had the Super Nintendo, so we'd play Mario on it, and we had some other games on there. I still remember he had like a Hulk Hogan stuffed animal, and we'd act like we were wrestling Hulk Hogan stuffed thing that was, probably a meter tall, if not less, probably less, because we weren't that much bigger, so probably half a meter tall, but we'd act like we were wrestling it. Yeah, he had a Super Nintendo that we'd either play downstairs in the living room or sometimes up in the upstairs office of his dad. So Heath, if you're watching, you know what I'm talking about, buddy. We had a great time back in the good old days. But yeah, Sega Game Gear. One of my friends did have the Sega Master System. And that was a 8-bit console by Sega. So it was more powerful than the NES in a lot of ways. Let's just take a look. Again, remember this is NES era, 8-bit. The city was once a happy, peaceful place until one day a powerful secret criminal organization took over. This vicious syndicate soon had control of the government and even the police force. Wow. Talk about a story. You see, you get to be 3 different players, and you can do it normal or hard. Let's do normal. I'm not a masochist. So Adam is power A, jump A, speed B. And then we get Axel. Can't jump very well as well, but he's more powerful and faster. And then we have Lays, a girl. She's not as powerful, but she can jump with the best of them, and she's got the speed with the best of them. We'll go with Mr. Axel. Again, because I'm a blonde and naturally, so let's go with that. I mean, the text even just super clear, like the background maneuvering around. Now, I know if this was SNES, it wouldn't be all that great, but again, this was SNES era. So now I did like a wrestling move to him. Ah! Give me that apple. I need a boost of power after taking some hits. All right, now I got a wrench. And then, of course, he immediately hits me, so... Hey! What did I say? Don't hit me. I mean, how cool was that, though? I mean, you think about it. Back in the NES era, and you can do wrestling moves, like body slams and stuff like that. Pot breakfast diner. Give me that pipe. Oh, and then he's going to whack me. I didn't say you could whack me. Come here. Oh! Yes, and you can use your analog stick if you prefer. They at least did that part of the programming. Of course, some people that grew up with these games, including myself, I'm not one of the people, but I did grow up with these games. That, you know, people would be like, oh, it's sacrilege to play a game that didn't come with a joystick to play it with a joystick. You know, the type of player I am is just play it the way that you want to play it. You know, if you're gonna have, if it makes you, if you have fun with it, then that's the most important thing. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to play a game a certain way. If you have the option, like say, to play with a stick on a game that didn't have a stick to begin with, just enjoy it and play it with a stick if that's what works for you. To me, you know, these retro handhelds are all about having fun, not worrying about what was possible, what wasn't possible when that game came out. And even, I mean, decent audio too. just in case for some reason that gets a copyright strike, I'll turn it down, but usually these older games don't have it copyright strikes. But again, the last thing I want to do with my small channel is somebody thinks that they're funny and get me for copyright. Ooh. Hey dude, what are you doing over there? Ouch. First level beat. Hey, all right. So first round. So round 2, start. Like I say, so again for NES, I don't think that's too bad era of games. Again, that was not NES, that was Sega Master System, which I also remember my friends growing up had that. They were a family of like 7 kids, and they and their parents all had their first name begin with an S, including 2 guys, two boys, one named Shannon, one named Stacy. They were closest to my age. Shannon and Stacy were my age, and both parents were over 6 foot tall. 6 foot is what, 183, 184. So like literally everybody in that family was closer to 2 meters than they were to 1.8 meters. They were closer to Michael Jordan's 6'6" than they were to 6 foot. But good memories going over there and playing the Sega Master System. So yes, I had great friends because we all had a great range of consoles. I had the Atari 2600 and the NES. They had the Wallaces had the Sega Master System. My friend Heath had the SNES, and we all lived like 1 block from each other. And then I moved, and my friend Chris had the Dreamcast, and I had the PS1. My friend Steve in that same area had an NES as well, and he and I used to play Super Tecmo Bowl. That's a great football game, classic football game that I'll have to do next live stream, Super Tecmo Bowl on NES. Or maybe I'll have to get the throwback game going because it has a version of it that you can toggle between the NES and the PS3 version. And then he had a good friend, my friend Steve had a good friend that had an N64. So that was my first exposure to like GoldenEye, and the N64 was through him. And like say, one sister's boyfriend had a SNES, one boyfriend had a Sega Genesis. So got to play both of those games, Mortal Kombat and got a Super Mario Kart and those types of games because of those guys too. Yeah, so lots of games over the years. But we've been doing this live stream for an hour, 47 minutes. And sadly, there's only been one other person that joined us, and it was only for like a minute or 2. And sadly, they never even commented. So I'm not sure who you were, but if you watch back, I want you to know that you're welcome on the live stream, as is anyone that joins in. I want us to be like a big family that can just talk games, technology, life, whatever, doesn't matter. I think that's really great, and that's one of the things is games can build a connection with people, bring back memories, and you can discuss those memories and laugh about them. or laugh about, you know, again, my 21st birthday, my brother taking me to Chuck E. Cheese. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for tonight, especially for this guy, you know, an entry-level handheld. It's a lot of fun for the price. Is it going to be anywhere near as powerful as Ethan's soon-to-be shipped Mangmi Air X? No, not at all. That Mangmi Air X would run laps around this. I mean, if we're doing it in like a race methodology here, let's make it a 10 lap race. That Mangmi Air X would be like on lap 9 when this would be finishing lap 1. So as far as power goes, it's a lot more powerful. But again, this has a custom operating system that makes it a lot less power requirements out of it, takes a lot less power requirements. But as you saw, some PS1 games really struggled on that. Whereas the Mangmi Air X, you can get some PS2, you can get some, especially if you do PAL ROMs, some PAL GameCubes. You can get, I've seen 50 games of each being able to be played on that. And then the upcoming Aeneo Pocket Air Mini, also the same thing. You know, they've, even though it's less powerful in some ways, they've optimized it and they've done some special RAM tricks and whatnot with it to make the Mangmi Air X, make it think that it has more RAM than it does compared to what the Mangmi has. So even though it's a smaller screen, 4.2 inches, and it's the 4x3 like this is, like old school TVs were, whereas the Mangmi Air X is 5.5 inch screen. So it's 16:9, so it's basically this size. So Mangmi is going to be more comfortable to hold because it's larger. But I'm getting both of those along with 4 more sometime in the next 2 or 3 months. And in between then, I'll also be getting the newest Magic X, and I'll be getting the newest Miu, getting the Miu Mini Flip, which the Miu Flip was one of my favorite devices of the year. And I know a lot of reviewers are wishy-washy on it because they did initially launch the Miu Flip with hinge issues, shall we say. But again, they did quickly come out with the V2, and some people sadly still had issues with the Mini V2, Flip V2. But it appears that they're using an updated hinge furthermore on the Mini Flip. Now it's going to be a smaller 2.8 screen, 2.8 inch screen rather than the 3.5 inch screen on the Miu Flip. And so you lose the analog sticks, but could be a lot of fun, especially for a very small pocketable device. I think that could be a lot of fun. So, and like I say, should be getting the Thor probably tomorrow or the day after, the AYN Thor. And then I have ordered the Odin 3. This is the Odin 2 Portal. So I'll be getting the Odin 3, see how that's like. And then from Aeneo, as I mentioned, I'll be getting the Aeneo Pocket Air Mini and their new sub-brand Conquer Pocket Fit. And I'll also be getting from Aeneo the Aeneo Pocket DS. So the Thor is dual screen and the Pocket DS by Aeneo are 2 dual screen devices. So I'll be getting 2 dual screen devices, which is why, again, it was so important for me to want to have this in my back pocket to understand this. But I'll be able to test those and have that in my mind and compare and contrast what the experience is like. Obviously, they're much more expensive. I mean, my Pocket DS is almost 3 times more expensive, and my AYN that's coming is about double the cost of both the add-on screen and the device itself. But that's why I want to know, what should we do? And I can't know unless I have this first to do a comparison. Because initially I would just say, no, just get the dual screen and call it good. But I want to be able to be as honest and frank with you guys as possible, so that's why I had to get that, and that's why I have to get those 2 devices. And the AYN Odin 2 Portal has a 7-inch screen. The Odin 3 has a 6-inch screen. Will that make a difference? I don't know. That's why we have to test it out. But I'm jibber jabbering now. Oh yes, and the RGDS. I haven't ordered it yet, obviously. But you're right, Ethan. That will be coming, and usually Anbernic is quick at shipping their new devices. So I will be getting that as well. So that'll be 3 foldables by the end of the year, that permanent foldables, at least I hope by the end of the year, versus this detachable foldable. Those, I believe the RGDS will have 2 4-inch screens. So I have one, but it's in my backlog, so I haven't taken the Anbernic 4-inch screen out of its box yet. And the other 4-inch screen I have is the Hilagali, but that's a, I don't know, it is a, that is a 4.3 screen. So imagine you'll have this, and then you'll have another one of these. Sorry about that. So yes, I guess, yeah, this is a 4.3 screen. So the Anbernic will have 2 of these screens basically. One that's a touchscreen on the bottom, and I believe the top one won't be touchscreen. And then the speakers will be on the top. If you haven't seen it yet, the controls will be down below. So that'll be an interesting one, especially since Anbernic is quoting them to be under $100. Now, does that mean it's $99.99? That's possible. But usually for their launch, Anbernic will usually give a nice discount of like $10 or so. So it'd be like, even if it's 99, they make it 90, or if it's 90, they'll make it like 89, they'll make it 79. So that could be a steal of the year. But yeah, so 2 of these 4-inch screens with the hinge in the middle, of course, will be what that is. So those devices will be a lot of fun. And like I say, I'm excited about getting the Miyoo Mini Flip, because this is my first mini device, if you remember, the TrimUI Model S. And that has a 2-inch screen versus the Mini, like I say, is 2.8 inches. So it's a bit bigger, but not like gigantic. It's still considered like a mini console or a micro console, depending on who you're talking to. Okay. Sorry, I have a little like kind of display case, and it's wanting to act up at the moment. Display box, perfect. All right. All right, there's my handhelds. All right, so there's my jibber jabber for this live stream. It went on about 10 minutes. So I'm going to end the live stream now. And before I go, I'll just say this, in case you don't know. When I'm saying hello, I do it like I do in my articles. And I say it in English first. Hey fam, because again, fam, short for family. And then the other part I say is Swati tuk kong krap. Okay, Swati is hello. Tuk is everyone. And kun, tuk kun is like every one of you. So hello, every one of you. And then krap is how a man ends a sentence politely in Thai. A woman ends a sentence politely in Thai with ka, and a man ends a sentence with krap. Now in Thai, the word sawatdi is hello, but it is also the word for goodbye. Okay, so it's like hi and bye. Hi, bye. Depending on your context. So that's why in my articles, when I write in the blog, I write Swati Tuk Kong Krap in Thai using Thai letters. Had my wife help me with that because I don't speak Thai other than a few things like Pom Shu Pinik. My name is Pinik. But again, in Thai, a man uses for I uses pom, and a woman uses chan for the word I. So I'd say Ethan and I would say pom shu Nick, pom shu Ethan. My name is Nick. My name is Ethan, and my wife would say chan shu Joe. My name is Joe. Chan shu Joe. And then I know like meets and how are you? I am well. You know, very very basic things. Because I have worked 100% in English only environments at this point, even in Thailand for the last 2 years. I need to get on it. I need to learn Thai. I feel bad that I haven't learned more, but at this point, it is what it is. Can't change the past. Just have to move forward and work to be better. But I digress. I hope that we can get more people tuning in next week. As I alluded to when I was just talking about those devices, the AYN Thor, their first ever dual screen device, is coming out or has been released, and mine is currently in Thailand. So I'm hoping I will get it either delivered tomorrow, Thursday, or the next day, Friday. So then I can do an unboxing on Monday. And if they sent me my accessories that I ordered, I could do an accessory showcase on the following Friday, along with either doing my dream clamshell device or doing my dream or do something else atop something. Let me know, what would you guys like? Again, in the next one, you too, Ethan, of course, but I'll mention this on my on the video on Monday. Whenever I do these 2-week-long things, because again, I have accessories to go over and they're a special device, so I want to give extra attention to them. So you get 2 live streams with them as well. Not only let me know what games you want to see, but I also want to know, what do you want to see on that Monday video? Do you want to see a best of series? For example, me giving you the top NES games or the top SNES games that I've played and I've enjoyed, or the top games of all time in my opinion. So do you want to do like me to do a best of series? Do you want me to do another Dream Machine? Again, yes, it's still here. My fancy artwork. Now, of course, we could probably get away with tilting this in a little bit and making it a little bit narrower for a 6-inch screen, 6-inch 4x3 screen. But again, I think having full-size console controls is really awesome. You know, I measured out how big is the thumbstick on a PlayStation, how big is the D-pad. So this is actually accurate. Now, again, I could probably maybe change the angle a little bit, but I wanted to make it where it would be comfortable to play like that, and then also comfortable. Like I say, that might be a little bit too much. I don't know. I would have to have like a 3D printer and somebody with CAD skills to make this. Obviously, probably not humps this big, but you know, something. My vision was humps like this. But with my limited skills, again, I don't know how to use CAD, so honestly, I used Microsoft Word, because you can choose how big you want your circles to be, how big you want your cross to be, or your ovals to be, and then I just copied it so it'd be equal for the highs and the mids versus having the subs down here, and made these 4 circles be the same size, and chose the actual dimensions of the screen. So again, this is a 6-inch diagonal screen. And like I said, I used AI because, well, I could figure it out on my own, but my mind hasn't thought that way in a long time. So that's where, like I said, my starting point, actually, I'll be 100% honest with you. I like the 5.5-inch screen that is 16:9 that is on the Retroid. On this guy, I like that 5.5-inch screen, which is also the same screen that is on the AirX that Ethan is getting. So I wanted that, and I wanted that to be 1080p. So when I was making this, I was like, I want to make a screen that is a 16 by 9 5.5 inch screen, but the entire screen I want to be a 4:3 aspect ratio that would be able to fit a 1080p screen on the inside, the actual native resolution 1080p. So AI came back like, oh, well, that'd be a 6-inch 4:3 screen, and it'd be 1920 by 1440. And so you can see, fits right in. But then I was curious, well, if I play Game Boy Advance has 3:2 aspect ratio. So there you are. So Game Boy Advance would be 1920 by 1280, and it'd be 5.76 inches on that 6-inch 4:3 screen. So again, my nerdiness knows no bounds, but I just don't know how to do CAD. So using Word is what it was. But again, I would be happy to create my dream clamshell dual screen device. But again, it'll probably end up like paper like that. So let me know what you want. Do you want best of series? I'd be happy to do a best of series. Because again, for the Thor, I'll do that. I believe I'll do that for the Odin 3, and I'll do that for the Pocket DS, and I'll probably do that for the Conquer Pocket Fit. Why? Because those 4 devices are close to $2,000 US. Oh, that hurts me thinking about that, because that's all out of pocket for me. And I work in Thailand, which salaries aren't as good as they once were when I was in Canada. So it takes a bit of a hit, but that's why I need you guys to share these videos. I need you guys to comment on these videos. I need you guys to give thumbs up to these videos. And if you're not subscribed, I need you to subscribe, because the quicker I can get to 1,000, the quicker I can get to monetization. And obviously monetization won't happen overnight, making any difference. But every subscription will help. And that's why I have the member giveaway at 500 again, where you could choose either a desk mat like this one, you could choose the USB-A, USB-C flash drives, or you could choose the coffee mug I showed in my last live stream. I've actually put it away, but I can grab it if you want to see it again. Or a t-shirt with the controller part in the front with the full logo on the back. And like I say, I'll have it shipped to you at whatever you win at no cost to you. And that happens at 500, at 1,000, and every 1,000 thereafter. Right? So at 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, each 1,000 thereafter, I'll do a member giveaway. But to qualify, you need to be subscribed to my YouTube channel. Let me smudge up the screen here. You have to be on the YouTube channel. Plus, you have to subscribe to Penix, handhelds.com. Not that I will ever be spamming you. I don't send out any emails. You can ask Ethan. He's never received an email from me. I don't spam. That's not the point of it. If you want to read the articles, that's great. They're rather time consuming, so I've been focusing more on just doing the review articles, but I'll try getting back into writing more new device preview articles as well. But the whole point of it is YouTube does not give me the option to spam you. They don't give me a chance to DM you. So I have no way to say, hey, we did this giveaway. Congratulations. Now I can post it in a video, and I will say who won it, as I did in my first member giveaway. But I want to notify you first, so I can hopefully, by the time I make that video, then come to you, or come back to the group and say, hey, just so you know, we had our 500 member giveaway, or our 1,000 member giveaway, and Steve won. Congratulations, Steve. And Steve chose the flash drive. I would love to be able to do that. And that's why I ask you to sign up for both. Because on my website, I have a chat with me live option, where even if you're not live on the website because you've signed up with your email, I can start a chat with you, and they'll send you an email, say, hey, a message has been received from Penix. Look at all those smudge. There we go. That's much better. But yeah, so that's the whole purpose. Again, I will not spam you. I will never sell my member list to anyone. I don't care if they come to me with $1 billion, I'll tell them to get lost because every member deserves privacy and I am not going to sell their information to anyone. So no spam, no selling of your information. It's only used for member giveaways. So Phoenix-handhelds.com. Sign up to both of those places. And when you sign up on Phoenix, send me a live message. Say, hey, Phoenix, I just signed up. My YouTube name is Steve123. Great. Then, like say, whenever I do the giveaway, I'll see, okay, it looks like Steve1231, and then send you a message on the website. But again, I jibber jabbered on another 15 minutes that I didn't plan to jibber jabber on. So I'm going to end this live stream now. I do want to thank you again for taking time out of your day if you're watching this still, like Ethan. Kudos for being here live with me. I appreciate your time, buddy. Next week, you know, unless some reason it gets stuck in the mail, I'll have the Thor here next Wednesday and the following Wednesday. So come prepared with games. I have almost every DS game available now. I have almost every PS2 game made available in North America now, which is why I have that big hard drive. I have a number of 3DS games, so bring your 3DS games too, your 3DS requests. But either way, I'm going to end it now. So again, as I mentioned, the word for hello and goodbye in Thai is the same word, sawat di, and I'm a man, so, or I want to say thank you to everyone, tuk kon krap. So thank you for joining me. Until next time, fam, swati tuk kon krap. This has been Phoenix.